Okay, Mario with MIA Microflight once again, and I have been running some additional parts here on this artillery Sidewinder X3 Pro, and you know, it's very difficult to favor this machine when it starts doing prints that that miss some of the layers, you know. So, you know, I've been trying to like this machine because I do like some of the features, the aesthetical features of this machine. It's clean. It's got this cover, you know, for the internal power supply. Although I don't favor these controllers on the side here, I think they should be part of the machine themselves at the front. You know, I've been trying to like this machine and give it a chance, but it's not really winning my heart, as I said in some other videos, because it's just not performing to the level that I think this machine should perform, being the type of machine that I think it wants to be. So you can see here, look at these layers here. You know, and this is like the 4th time that I have laid this the same setup here of parts. This, by the way, these are not my parts. These are from Thingiverse for a little train set. You can download these things from Thingiverse, and I decided to download this file because I wanted to see, because these parts are a little they're designed with a little detail, a little more detail than some other parts that are done, and this is more in scale with the HO size of trains. So I downloaded this part, but it's doing this type of thing, the print here. I mean, this is no good. My Anycubics, on the other hand, you know, they're very reliable. They when you hit print, every single layer is done precisely the same, provided you maintain the same travel speed, you know, throughout the whole part. But this, even running this at the percentage, at the speed that I'm running, I decided to lower this. I believe, like I was saying, this is like the 4th time that I have started this part, because on the first ones it was messing up, and it was dropping filament and creating these blobs, and it was interfering with the layering of the other parts, and by the time it got onto the other part, it would lift up the part. So this is like the 4th time that I have laid this, and I decided to just let this go. So this one, if we look at the speed, this is running at 100%, which is at 50 millimeters per second, which is what my slicing software was set to. And 50 millimeters per second is really not that fast. So this is running at that speed, 100%, according to this setup here. 100% 50 millimeters at 50 millimeters per second. But it's, you know, it's doing this type of layering here. It's, for some reason, it missed those parts, and I don't think it's the part design, because these parts are nice parts. I've already printed this on another machine, the same set, and it didn't have these issues that this machine is having, you know, printing these parts right here. So yeah, like I said, I've been trying to like this machine, but it's just not happening. Not happening at all. So I'm going to be looking at some other machines and considering just replacing this machine. I don't need this machine for production. My Anycubics do just fine. I just needed this machine more for the you know, to print parts for fun, that I'm using it for personal purposes, you know, just for my kids, my kids, which are my grandkids. These are not parts for sale. I would never, you know, sell something like this for sale, because they're, number one, these parts are from Thingiverse, and just you have to respect, you know, the work that has been done by other people. And so, but they're nice enough to give you these files, as I have given files, you know, on Thingiverse myself, of some of the work that I have done. You know, and I would want, you know, people to respect, you know, my stuff, not sell that, you know, not print for sale. So the same thing, this is for personal use, that I'm trying to print these parts, but it's very difficult, you know, with a machine that should be should have no issues whatsoever, considering the times that we live in, with high technology, and a lot of these machines have had enough time to isolate and iron out all those little nuances that the older machines in the past used to have. I mean, my Anycubic i3 Megas are more than 5-7 years, I think, and they're, to this day, they're still performing with maybe just a swap of nozzle and a swap of the Bowden tube, and just maybe a swap of the power supply. Due to the typical things that tend to go out after you use the machine. But they have been consistent machines in the layout of filament. But this machine is not. It's just not winning my heart here. And that's the reason why I'm doing these videos, is to show what's happening here in real time, so that either artillery or somebody watching this, I am going to reach out to artillery and see what they have to say. Maybe I'm not saying something right here. I doubt it, because I'm very familiar with 3D printers. I'm very familiar with slicing software. I mean, I design my own parts, which I've shown, through my work of my own products that I've been selling through MIA Microflight. So it's not like I'm a newbie at these things, and I have built my own machines. So I do understand all these things, from many angles. But this is, this is showing signs that the machine is not consistent. It's not able to, to produce parts with consistency. Yeah, I got one of the little cars that I printed earlier that I showed in my, I think my third or fourth part video. That printed just fine, but it's just a small part, and kind of, it's not a spread of parts. This is where the real test of a machine should be, in being able to print parts with precision. These types of parts that need to fit precisely, that have intricacies in the design, that are different from one another, laid out in a plate like this. This is where I test. I really see the potential of the machine. My Anycubics do this and more. I've laid a ton of little parts in the machine. It's consistent throughout the whole bed, and I have tweaked this machine. I mean, I just explained that in my other videos, how I tweaked the machine, but it's just not. I mean, look at that sound. It's rubbing against this right here. So either it's dropping too much filament in one area, or it's catching on to maybe residue that's underneath. I don't see any residue underneath, so I think it's just the fact that it missed some layers on that part, and that is causing the machine to get crash into some of those imperfections in layer height, by nature of those two parts right there. But if we also look at the consistency of the infill, the infill is it's supposed to be a sort of a square type of infill, like a hash cross pattern. Even that is not doing it. And I don't think it's the filament. The filament is the same filament that I've been using for other parts that come out perfect on my other machines, including a monoprice, a very low-end type machine. So, I mean, look at the way it's printing the infill right there. It's almost like it's not putting enough material into the dropping enough material into the infill. And like I was saying, I have already printed these parts on my other machines, and these parts print just fine. But this has, it's missing, some layers there, particularly these parts right here. So, yeah, this is just another video, to show the functionality of this machine, which I have been trying to be very, very fair with this machine. Once again, like I was saying, I do like certain features of this machine, aesthetical features, but I just don't, it's not giving me what I'm looking for in a machine of this caliber. I mean, you know, I don't want total perfection, but this machine should be able to be consistent in at least in the layering of parts here, regardless of part, you know, the geometry that you put here. Now, what I have also done to this machine is I have made my own brackets here, even though I don't like putting brackets. I mean, this is such an eyesore in any machine that, that has these things, but I had to do this because just to reinforce this a little bit better and see if perhaps that helps in the printing of these parts. But that even is not helping, you know, reinforcing this and making it a little more sturdy with these bars, which are, you know, they're aluminum bars. Aluminum is nice as a material, but it's ugly in terms of architecture here, you know, with these bars right here. So, you know, I'm not, you know, it's not very satisfying, you know, when you look forward to a machine that you think it's going to perform and you get this type of a result, you know, from the machine. And like I was saying, I have already tried this to print this 4 times already, with all the 3 previous prints failing at the beginning by, you know, trying to remove some blobs that this machine was depositing in the print, and just trying to get them out of the way. And this is doing the same thing, I think. So I don't know if it's consistency in the extruder or the software maybe that's not pushing the material consistent. You know, and I do hear some of the material getting a little, creating a little binding underneath here. I mean, I can hear that as this is going through the part, and that's what I believe, that's what's creating this this issue, you know, with the print. The other thing that I've checked is to make sure that the temperature, at least by the controller, is consistent, because that's another thing. Because if the temperature on the nozzle is not consistent, you're not going to get that flow, that even flow, you know, from the filament. That I know by experience with one of my Anycubics, where I had to replace the power supply because the power supply was failing and eventually failed. And you know, when those capacitors on the power supply fail, you know, then you don't get the output voltage that you should be getting. And here's one of the boards that I just replaced on one of the machines, and I also made a video of this, how the power supplies, you know, when these capacitors fail, I replaced these 2 because they were gone, and this one right here, which on this particular power supply, this one was the can was floating on top of the paper, that paper roll that's inside these capacitors. It was a little strange, you know, to see that. But I replaced that, and this power supply is back in working order. You know, I just need to put this back in the case. And this belongs to one of my very first Anycubic machines that I had for close to 10 years or more, I think. That had the same power supply, and finally it failed after that many years. So this was one of the first Anycubics, which also happens to be one of the better machines as compared to the later ones that came out in later years. Those, you know, the power supplies were an issue. I replaced those, but the machine, mechanically and software-wise, is very consistent. You know, with the stock settings that those machines come with. But this is, you know, this is totally unacceptable. You know, at least from my point of view. I cannot have a machine that does this. And I've already tried all the settings, and I'm showing here. This is running at 210 degrees Celsius. The table says 60. It's just fine. The table's warm. I mean, I can feel it. It's got a good heat. So these parts are holding on to the table, but it's not dropping the material consistently. And I don't think it's an issue with a little wire also that I mentioned in some other video that's sticking out of there. I noticed that there's a wire that's floating here. It's a skinny wire, a black wire that's floating underneath the table here. So I don't want to dismantle the machine to look at the wire, because I wanted to run some prints. That I don't think that's an issue with that wire, because noticing where this wire is coming from, it's coming from that connector, that ribbon connector, that thick connector at the back. I don't know if it's a wire that goes to a sensor. My logic would dictate that if it is a sensor, and if it's broken, you would not be seeing this controller display, you know, the variations in temperature here, or the consistency that it's showing. It's showing consistency, and so it's showing consistency in temperature with the target temperature on both the nozzle and the table. So I don't think that wire has anything to do with the temperature control, but it is a wire that's kind of you know, it's kind of making me think, you know, what's going on with this wire here. And you can see that wire sticking out right here, this little skinny wire here. So that's underneath here. I don't know if it's an extra wire or, you know, it just, you know, I noticed that as I was printing this, that there's just a loose wire there. So, but I don't think it has to do anything with that or the extruder, because this is a separate connection than where that wire is coming from. This is the ribbon cable to the extruder, and this is going to the control panel via this ribbon cable here, that is connected to the hot end. So, but it is yeah, that inconsistency in the layering here, and we can see how the intro is not consistent. It's scattered, and it looks like the material was not hot enough to be deposited on the you know, during the intro cycle. So this is where I'm at with this machine. Like I was saying, it's I didn't expect to get this result, you know, from the looks of this machine, the way it's advertised. And I understand that most products, you know, they overemphasize, you know, their what the machines can do and what they offer, you know, when they advertise that. I mean, all manufacturers do that. Just to get you to bite into the purchase of the machine, but considering some of the good reviews that I read about this company in previous machines, I sort of expected the same sort of functionality and result. But I am not getting this machine. It's not winning my heart, and I have printed, you know, quite a few parts here already, from very basic, you know, beginning with this tray that I showed, you know, that I started printing in a white PLA, and then I went to this yellow one. I mean, this is probably the best part that I have printed. You know, it's not perfect in the layering, but I could live with this if it was consistent, you know, if throughout any type of geometry. I had an issue with another part that I was printing. That's also from Thingiverse. I was printing this unit here, and you can see there's a lot of fuzz in the printout here. This one I printed vertically to test the height, you know, of the machine, and to see how the layering would come out printing apart like this vertically. I did that on purpose. And this machine fell at 85% because it disengaged from the bottom. Now I do understand that there's not enough. I should have printed this with a brim, you know, just to reinforce the bottom a little bit better, so this would not disengage as it did at 85%. But I did print this part horizontally this way on an angle. It's the only way that it would fit on this machine. And it print, although it completed the print, it was still showing. It still shows these blemishes on the layering. So, you know, and I do understand that this material is a little bit harder to print with. This is also PLA, but it's from a company. No, this is from a company. This yellow one is from a company by the name of what's the name of that company? Overture, I think. Overture, and they are the ones that sell the matted or the matte PLA. You know, the one that has no it's supposed to have no sheen to it when you end up with a part. So this has a little more. It's almost like printing ABS, a combination between ABS and PLA in a sense, because even the material is heavier. so it is a little bit harder to print with, and you almost have to raise the temperature higher on both the table and the nozzle, so that it maintains, you know, consistent flow of the material, and it grabs onto the previous surface as it prints. But this PLA right here is one of the most easiest PLAs that I consistently use with my other machines. This is from a company called Airy One, and it's great PLA. I've also used Anycubic's PLA, which is very easy, and I buy that specifically for my Anycubic machines. You know, since the company produces their own PLA, I like to be consistent, you know, in that respect. Although there are other companies that produce some excellent PLAs and materials, but this is from Airy One or Very One or something like that. And it's material that I have printed my other machines with no issues whatsoever. But in here, you know, this is not an issue of the material, but this is an issue of the machine. And I also have run this through my slicer twice already, just to make sure that there was no issues in the slicing portion, because when you slice a file, you know, there's that possibility that you may miss some packets of information or data there where the machine cannot read that precisely. That could be a result of a part not printing correctly. But I've run this, you know, twice already through my slicer, and this part said prints just fine in my other machines, so that isolates, you know, that issue. You know, so I think this is more of a machine that just missed that section for some reason that I just don't, you know, I can't understand why. And as I was saying, if you look at the infill, also the infill is not consistent. It's like it's spit, you know, like it's spitting the material and not layering it, you know, consistently, you know, in a single run. So yeah, you know, as a viewer, you know, you make up your own mind. I think I've given enough information here of this machine. I hope there are other people that have this machine and are able to do videos, because I have not found any videos. In fact, there are no reviews whatsoever in this machine, and I knew I was taking that risk when I bought this machine, that you know, when there are no reviews, you're basically you know, you don't know what you're going to get. But considering what I said earlier about other videos from this company, from other machines that have done just fine, I was going by that, hoping that this machine would have improved upon those other machines, being that this is one of the later models here. But I think this machine still has some issues that they need to figure out, and I cannot accept this the way the way this is printing, and what I have shown in my experience that I have videotaped and have posted on my YouTube channel. So, you know, I'm sorry, Artillery. It's nothing personal towards the company. I do have my issues, you know, when I see machines that I think should be designed a certain way. You want to take that information and run with that. That's great. You know, I would love to see a machine that has that. I think there's one machine that I was looking at that has those features. Jesus, what is the name? Magician or something like that. Might be another machine that I saw with that type of structure, almost like the Anycubic's like 3 megas were designed. I'm also considering just going with a larger format from Anycubic, although I don't like the open structure architecture that Anycubic has gone, has switched to. They should have just remained with the, with the Anycubic format, just like those machines there, with the base like that, nice and clean. That architecture, I don't think you can beat that architecture. It's almost a one-piece type thing. Very, very solid machine, very clean. And so that's, I would love to see a machine that takes that concept and puts it on a larger format printer. This is not that large, being that this is only 240 by 240. by 260 in height. But it's a decent size, you know. It's a step up, you know, in print area for my Anycubics. And that was also the other attractive feature that I found in this machine. I didn't want to go with a larger version of this, which is a lot more expensive, you know. Then that's fine, because it had these brackets here, which I've mentioned I added on this machine, you know, to see if this will be a little more stable in the prints. And more stable, in order to minimize some of these imperfections here that you see here, you know, from layer to layer. But I don't like those brackets, and against my own dislike of those brackets, I put those here just to see if I can improve on those details, you know, from the print cycles here. But you know, this is really not acceptable here. And if this was, and it's only happening, you know, one part here. You know, if this was happening throughout the whole, throughout all the parts, you know, maybe I need to tweak, you know, my Z heights, my you know, my leveling of the bed. No, I've done that already several times. You know, as you can see, the base is fine, and that attributes, you know, to the bed being level. You know, all these parts, you know, they started fine after tweaking the machine, you know, to the point where it was failing initially. You know, three times tried to print this, it failed. And so I adjusted the height, I just re-leveled that. I went through that process here, and then, you know, I'm getting this type of effect. You know, that's not. I cannot work with a machine like this. So, you know, I will be contacting Artillery and see what they say. Hopefully they have a good customer support, because that's the other thing, that, you know, with these a lot of these machines, you know, you don't know what type of support you're gonna get. You know, many of them just don't come through, you know, when it comes to support. So and I hope that other people that may have purchased this machine, maybe they can share their own experience with their machines. I would like to I would like to see, you know, what others have to say, because I like to compare. You know, this is from my point of view, but maybe somebody else has a different point of view. But there are other, I think there are like maybe 2 or 3 other videos direct from the company. Those I already saw, but they don't give you much information. And then there's, I believe, 3 other videos from 3 other people that have posted on YouTube. One of them, I think, is a German gentleman that, or French. I think I can't understand what he's saying, you know, in the video, because I don't speak that language. But you know, where he's going through the assembly, and he's showing the, you know, the machine from that perspective. And then there's another video that shows the machine crashing into the cleaning device that's in the back. Now that's another thing. I don't see any sort of cleaning happening here when the machine goes and parks itself, you know, at that point there. I mean, it's able to park itself. The head, the hot end comes in and tips this over, you know, so it's locking well into this position. But I don't see the sequence of the nozzle going through that before it starts to print. So it's not purging before it prints, and I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. But in my logic, I would assume that a machine that's going to start, you know, a new print shop would want to purge itself and run through the cycle and then start printing. So what this does is it parks itself there, and then when it reaches the heat, when it reaches the temperature to the point where it should be, it comes back here and it drops a little bit of filament, and then it starts printing. It's basically what any other basic machine does. You know, so what's the point of having this device here, this cleaning thing, where the machine just parks itself and it doesn't execute, you know, the cleaning cycle before it starts to print? So maybe that is an issue with software. The other issue that I have is, you know, the file is not showing the image of the file that I'm printing. This should be showing an image of what I'm printing here as some of these other files that they give you. You know, they give you an image of the benchy, they give you an image of this tray right here. You know, so when you see that, I mean, you expect that when you save that file to the SD card, it's going to pick up that information, you know, from the G code and manufacture the image. So I don't know how they're putting that image on these controllers. I haven't done enough research, in fact, I haven't done any research whatsoever, to find out how that's done. I hope that somebody has some answer to that. And I'm pretty sure, from my logic, I would assume that you need some kind of a JPEG or image of file, just an image file of the actual part that this can display. So that would be, the simplest way to do that. Or, if the machine or the software is smart enough, it can probably read the G code and formulate back, kind of reverse engineer itself into the final part that is being printed, and then spit out that image here. I mean, that would be my logic with these machines, but it's not showing. It's giving me this the logo of the company instead. And I was hoping to see that. One of the reasons that I also bought the machines is, oh great, now I can see what I'm printing here. It's giving me a display, but it's not doing that. So it's it's leaving a very, very sour taste in my mouth. With all these things that I've been showing, with this machine. So granted, I don't like to return product, especially once you use it, but there's no way, to be able to test the product. When you go buy a car, you test drive the car, and if it's to your liking, you buy it. These things, you can't test drive them, you can't see it. There are no videos whatsoever. So, I mean, this is sort of my test drive, and I hope it serves, for both the company and the viewers that are viewing this, to serve as a platform for for information. Data is very important, and honest data is important. I hope my videos show, just my honest point of view here. And if I'm doing something wrong, that somebody or the company or anybody that has a similar machine can share with me in these videos, by all means, put them in the comments. Tell me what you think is happening here. But given my experience and the many years that I've been that I have, with similar machines, designing parts from scratch, understanding all the mechanics of those things, the way that I explain myself in these videos, that should give you a good sense of I'm not a newbie with these things. But hey, I accept that we're not perfect, and if I'm doing something wrong, by all means, point those things out to me here, because this is not an issue of the part design. As I explained, I have printed these parts just fine in other machines, even the Monoprice. Monoprice is that machine that's sitting right there. This is just a basic machine. It has my own surface here, phenolic plate or phenolic sheet right on top of this sticky back metal surface. But even this machine, as basic as it is printing the parts, all those parts without issue. And this machine, being the type of machine that I think it should be,